Thank you, Your Excellency. Archbishop Di Quattro completes 1 year in February since he came to us in India. We now have our chief guest, Cardinal Charles Mong Bo, SDB, Society of Don Bosco, a Salesian, born in the Archdiocese of Mandalay on 29 October 1948, studied in the Nazareth Aspirante Aina scheme. He was ordained to the priesthood on 9 April 1976, served different places as parish priest, rich pastoral experience. He was appointed as Bishop of Patain by Pope John Paul II on 13 March 1996. On May 24, 2003, he was nominated Archbishop of Yangoon. He served as President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Myanmar from 2000 to 2006. He was created and proclaimed Cardinal by Pope Francis in the Consistory of 14 February 2015 with the title of the Church of Sant'Ireneo a Centocelle. He is member of the Congregation for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Society of Apostolic Life, very pertinent today. Pontifical Council for Culture, where I came to know him as a young, very humorous Archbishop, Secretariat of Communication. The church in Myanmar, about which he will speak, its presence goes back to as early as 1287, where frescoes containing crosses and other things are found, going to that. In 1497, with the arrival of Portuguese missionaries, further progress was done in the proclamation of the gospel. The Portuguese missionary, is a European missionary, Spanish, Saint Francis Xavier, is supposed to have mentioned Pegu, Kingdom of Pegu, that's why I called him the King of Pegu, as being one of the fertile places where the gospel could be proclaimed. Today, the Catholic Church of Myanmar, or in Myanmar, is a very, very fast-growing church. Archbishop Cardinal was telling me that in 30 years, they have doubled from 350,000 Catholics to about 700,000 Catholics. This is the only time he's going to speak to us. We've given him half an hour, but I'm sure he will keep us alive, because when I went to Myanmar, I spent in 2010 from the Pontifical Council for Culture, at one of the masses he asked me to preach, and I preached for 7 minutes, and after the mass he came and told me, it is too short, our people expect about 45 minutes. Eminence, people do not expect long sermons here, but please be free, share experiences. He's going to speak to us how the church lives unity in diversity in Myanmar.
Bishop Theodore has given much, and in reality I don't need to say any more. Thank you for the warm welcome, the Secretary General. Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, the Nuncio, dear Bishops, Archbishops, Monsignor Patrick, and all fathers, brothers, sisters, good morning again. It is almost a good afternoon. Namaskar. Minglawa in Burmese. Warm greetings from the golden land of Myanmar. It is a great honor to be invited to this vibrant church in Asia. Your Prime Minister has initiated Look East, and he must have inspired the CBCI. Anyhow, this is a great honor till 1937, we were part of India. Many priests have served Myanmar Catholics. We also rebate the debt with given to you qualified men like Archbishop Alan Basil the Lastic, and many priests and religious. Thank you, our Mother Church. Christianity was brought to Myanmar by missionaries, as was mentioned recently, from Goa. Thank you, Mother Church. And we recently celebrated the 500 years of the presence of the Catholic Church in Myanmar when His Eminence Oswald Gracious was the papal legate. 2,000 years ago, this nation encountered the message of Jesus. India has never been the same. It is a great feeling to be with such a church with long history. India stands with the Corinth, Ephesus in the great mission history of the early church. When Vasco da Gama came with the missionaries to the western coast, he was humbled by realization that before any European came to know the Christ, the light of the gospel was shining on this great land. Your history, your numbers, and the influence bring you to the front lines of the church in Asia. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Despite your warm welcome, I feel like a Burmese David standing in front of an Indian Goliath. I am not talking about I'm just talking about the size of not the fight. The population of my country is just 53 million, and you are 1.3 billion and counting. The size of the church here gave a staggering feeling. We are just 700,000 faithful in 16 dioceses. I think just a diocese in Kerala or Goa may have more Catholics than our total Catholics number in Myanmar. You really represent India with more than 1,000 cultural groups represented in the church. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Mumbai to Mizoram, India Church proves service is a power. From the Thomas Christians to recent Christian converts, the Indian Church is truly Catholic. Though less than 2% of the Indian population, your social pastoral achievements are great envy to many. You have your saints like Mother Teresa, holy martyrs like Sister Maria. You have 174 dioceses bringing to 3 rights. Church is a greater driver of the social sectors. Your contribution to the building of this nation through education and health is astounding. At least 10 million students enter your institutions every day. 25% of education is in the hand of the church. In many places of India, it is the church that has opened opportunity to the most vulnerable communities. In building a confident nation, Catholic Church played a pivotal role. India enjoys a great profile all over the world with its knowledge base, and Church can be proud of its role. Catholic Church can be rightfully proud of its contribution to the nation building. I heard around 20% of the health care to the most vulnerable is done by the church. Catholic Church has offered the service of an army of volunteers, nearly 110,000 sisters and around 60,000 men full-time for the pastoral and social development of this nation. India owes a lot to the Catholic Church. Millions are touched by your services. You are the face of the compassionate Jesus to the poor and the broken. For the millions of your countrymen and women whose way of the cross never ends. You are the Simon of Cyrene, yet you never rest on your laurels. You are never afraid of subjecting yourself to evaluation. Neither the internal challenges nor the external threats deter the great Indian church. Currently, government poses more challenges. I feel so empowered to be with you. You have chosen a challenging theme, united in diversity for a mission of mercy and witness. Your Secretary General, His Excellency Bishop Theodore Mascarius, requested me to share how the Burmese Church lives in unity amid all diversity. I am honored to share, but I don't know how much I will be able to do that with this mega church. Our own feats during the dark days and the hopes of the present and the future. I feel small standing in front of you theologians, professors, scholars, doctorates and PhDs. I am none. I heard that this conference comes amid a growing anxiety for Christians and other minorities. A reckless majoritarian discourse threatens the lives of vulnerable people in many countries. I've read in an analysis that the historical India is being systematically dismantled. The identity of the religious and cultural minorities are threatened by narratives of hatred. The attacks against the Dalits, minority communities, Christmas carols is a sad trend. This is an SOS moment for cultural and religious minorities. India as a nation and as an idea should not be allowed to die. We saw what was happening for Christianity in Iraq and Syria. Many in India are living with anxieties about the dangers to the India of Gandhi, India of Nehru, Naglo, and Ambedkar. So the theme of a CBCI conference is timely. Unity in diversity, unity as a Christian witness. When challenges abound, unity is not a luxury, but it is a necessity. Church, which started with the Jewish converts, had to grapple with many cultures. Unity was a challenge even during St. Peter's and Paul's time. From the beginning, the unity of Christ's followers paramount, as we read. Our own faith tradition is rooted in unity or triumph God for common good. God is revealed as a Trinity. God's living in perfect harmony. Your own church is a beautiful triune common communion, Latin Syro-Malabar and Syro-Malankara. This is Trinitarian communion in India. It's a graced communion, a strong church presence. Christ prayed that all of them be one. This is the prayer of the Asian churches. The early Christian community was marked by unity among different peoples, Acts of the Apostles 4:32. Paul takes unity of the mystical body of Christ to a metaphor of the body. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of his 1 Corinthians 12. Let me enumerate our problems and our responses. Without pride, we can say that church has emerged as a strong civil society player. Church took up the role of mercy for the afflicted people, and by our witness to truth and unity, we are slowly building up the image of the church. I do agree your problems are different. My sharing will help you. In short, I hope to focus on the major issues and what was our response and what could be your response. So I'll be very short, and of course, a sermon being short differs in different places. In the town, like in the town city, like in Yangoon sermons, homily shortly 15 minutes, 10 minutes. But in the one in India border, like Naga's place, sermon shortly 1 hour. Unity was one of our great assets, both as bishops and as Catholics. Maybe the path to unity is led by the issues of the nation. While pastoral issues can have a diocesan focus, church needs credibility through taking up social issues at the national level. Ours can be treated as a case study. Our major issue 1. Till recently, Burmese church in Myanmar, a persecuted church. In 1965, April 1st, April Fool's Day, our general navy, a foolish one on that April 1st, all our schools were nationalized and all our properties were taken away. Our missionaries were expelled. Overnight, the church was disempowered. Evil men thought we would never survive. Our response: we were challenged. I'm not sure the Indian church was a challenge like us. Overnight, we were left in the streets. No money, no manpower, no property. We became like the Job in the Old Testament. What has supported us, the wonderful relationships we had already built with our people. Together we suffered, but together we learned to survive first and resist. Our international connections give us a lifeline. Laity participation is vital to our church survival. Our major issue 2, one race, one religion, and one language totalitarian approach. Both the elected government and the military junta imposed a discriminatory approach. I'm sure tides of majoritarian arrogance is washing up your shores. In our country, the majority religion enjoys state protection. Minority are discriminated in education and government jobs. Christians often felt they were the second-class citizens in their own land. Our response: once again, the laity stood together. We are 16 dioceses made up of 4 Karens, 3 Kachins, 4 Chins, 3 Kayas, and 2 mixed ethnicities. We are in the process of evolving a common Catholic identity. Our success and struggle is to move across the ethnic identities towards common problems brought us together and help us. Boarding schools and other educational efforts were undertaken by the Church. Lack of opportunities for Catholics brought us to form educational commissions and making the poor educated and empowered population. Our major issue 3, climate of fear created by extremist groups. South Asia is home to religious extremist groups. Even monks indulge in hate speech and even in violence. Myanmar monks are graceful and peaceful monks. A few of the robed men resort to provocative speeches. You have heard about Rohingyas problem. Extremist elements drive a wedge through communities. They force the government to enact black laws against the minorities. I'm sure you do have similar situations. Our response: we as a church have developed a good relationship with the moderate religious leaders, diplomats, and international community. While we appreciate all positive efforts, we oppose any hate speech blanket laws. By constantly interacting with the moderate elements in the majority religion, we keep the violent fringe in the margin. We have openly opposed all hate speech. Of course, we have nothing to lose, so we oppose. Our major issue 4, neoliberal economy that perpetuates inequality. For 30 years, a crony economy looted our resource-rich country. The resultant poverty brought in human trafficking. Myanmar is one of the topmost in human trafficking. Millions of our youth are trapped in the modern forms of slavery in Southeast Asia. China buys girls from Myanmar. Companies are confiscating farming lands. Our response: migration is a major issue for our faithful. We are an active actor in safe migration and advocacy. Both local and international campaigning is being done at a very high level. I take all opportunities to attend seminars and campaign. We have formed farmer associations. Our major issue 5, attack on indigenous people, their way of life and their resources. Our church is an ethnic church. 14 dioceses are exclusively ethnic in nature. You have a considerable number of ethnic people who are Catholics. Our response: encouraged by the Pope's encyclical Laudato Si, we have launched indigenous rights and land rights campaign. We have cemented our unity through design and execution of national seminars, 2 national building seminars, 2 interreligious peace initiatives, and 3 national level and diocesan level social pastoral planning. I could enumerate more. Suffice to say, the issues brought us together, cementing our unity. This unity was a powerful witness for our people. After 50 years of dictatorship and oppression, we not only survived but thrived. From 2 dioceses, we have gone to 16 dioceses. From 300,000 Catholics, we are now 700 to 800,000 Catholics. From 160 priests, we are 800 priests. From 60 religious, we are now 2,400 religious. Church is the only organization that represents of all culture. We are 8 major races and 135 sub-tribes. It is a rainbow church. India and the Chinese Catholics joined this colorful mosaic. We survived and thrived because we stood together in our dark moments, protecting the church and the people from one of the most suffocating dictatorships in history, that needed unity of vision, mission, and purpose. The visceral challenge to the Indian church, I as an outsider, a perception. You are facing a visceral challenge today. In a nation where you have been living for ages, the patriotism of Christianity is called into question. In a recent book, Enemies of the Idea of India, written by an eminent historian, Amachandra Guha, if my pronunciation is correct, he points out that India as a nation faces an existential crisis. He points out the right-wing religious fundamentalism is threatening the minority communities. It's a grave danger to the very idea of India. Protecting a multicultural society is becoming a sacred duty for all of us. I have no answer, but as a church, it might be good to discuss the church's role in protecting multicultural mosaic of India. The world is undergoing a resurgence of right-wing, strong xenophobic leaderships. South Asia has been a hotbed. Religious fanatics who fan the fire of hatred caused the death of thousands. India faces the following challenges: poverty, the biggest terrorism. Pope Francis has been mainstreaming two concepts, rather two justices: economic justice and environmental justice. Poverty is a man-made disaster. This year, Oxfam reports said 1% of the world's rich garnered 60% of the world's wealth. Poverty is the biggest terrorism and evil that needs to be fought by the church. Poverty is the mortal sin of modern times. Pope Francis has highlighted this disparity of a trickle-down theory is wrong. When the glass is full, it mysteriously grows. There's no overflowing. The long-term viability of our people's life and livelihoods is a great challenge. Our countries are extremely poor. As a priest, we say the great words every day at Mass: take and eat. We are painfully aware that nearly 1 billion go to bed empty stomach. UNICEF talks of 30,000 children dying of starvation and lack of medicine every day. Our Eucharist is a great challenge. We break bread on the world altars of injustice. We need a world war, not between Trump. When I was sent as a legate to the Eucharistic Congress in Cebu 2 years ago in the Philippines, I said, we need a third and a final world a world war against poverty and injustice. 3 churches, communion and collaboration in mission. I'm happy to see the colorful nature of a CBCI, 3 rites at Trinity. This is a great blessing, 3 in Trinity. While the need to retain the individuality of each church, like the Trinity, all need to be united in the spiritual wealth and facing great challenges in India. I thank you for all your attention. I continue my admiration and my fear standing in front of you also. I have shared with you how our own church faces the social political challenges. I do hope it opens some windows of a discussion. You are a church and a community face great challenges in the present context. Mahatma Gandhi always used to say, miracle is moving from what we are doing towards what we can do. May the great Lord make all of us miracle workers. Thank you very much. God bless you all.